The New York Knicks steal game one in San Antonio, and we don't have to give it back. Brunson, clutch again, and he wasn't even the MVP of this game. Schein Time starts right now.
Don't stop. Keep it coming, baby. Don't stop.
For the Knicks and the Spurs. Last time the Knicks were in the NBA Finals 27 years ago against the San Antonio Spurs. Jalen Brunson's first shot of his finals career goes down. Brunson to drive, sidestep, floats it up and in. Here comes Brunson, stutter dribble, drives inside, layup, banks it in. Jalen Brunson coming alive again.
It did not take long once he got back on the floor. First trip, get a couple of free throws here, once again in the open floor.
Brunson looking. Brunson driving, layup, shot, it's good. A Brunson barrage here in the fourth quarter. Brunson keeps it alive. Bridges looks back to Brunson. Corner three is up. Bang!
The moment when to put this team on his back, delivering time and time again. Knicks trying to steal game one.
It was a tied game with about 2:15 to go. Just what was the difference in those last 2 minutes?
I think just sticking together. Wasn't really our night. Wasn't really my night most of the night. But we kept finding a way, kept chipping away. I just liked how resilient we were tonight.
My Knicks did it again. Game one of the NBA Finals saw the Knicks come back from a 14-point deficit in the second half for their 12th consecutive victory in the playoffs. The Knicks have won 12 straight playoff games, led once again when it mattered the most by Jalen Brunson, 30 points. 13 in the fourth, a personal 8-0 run. Look at what the Knicks have done in the playoffs. 12 straight wins. This is an all-time hitter. This is unbelievable. Anyone want to sit here and tell me that this team was a product of the weak Eastern Conference? Get the hell out of here with that garbage and nonsense. And you heard Tim Legler say it on the broadcast last night. Knicks stole one. Oh, baby, did we steal one? And we don't have to give it back. Front page, back page, New York Post, the steal deal. This is absolutely terrific, Mr. Wonderful. Bang, bang, bang. How about it? And you take a look at Jalen Brunson, what he was able to do. This is why I will keep saying it. I wouldn't trade Jalen Brunson for anybody. I wouldn't trade Jalen Brunson for any player in the NBA. As simple as that. If you gave me one player on my team, I want Jalen Brunson. You give me one player on my team in the fourth quarter, I want Jalen Brunson. That's the guy. Look at what he does when it matters the most. It's absolutely positively incredible. And you heard Brunson say it in the interview with Lisa Salters. This team didn't play well for the vast majority of the game. And I think that's important here, right? When you look at how Brunson was able to will the team to victory and what he did when it mattered the most in that fourth quarter. It was absolutely off the charts. It was amazing. Jalen Brunson's performance in the first half was subpar. He was injured. The knee was a problem. He had to leave on his own volition, just walk to the locker room. It wasn't like the training staff said, you got to go, or wasn't like Mike Brown said, we got to get you out. He got injured right here. And he just said, I got to get this checked out. I can't function anymore. Goes to the locker room. Every Knicks fan, myself included, saying it can't go like this. And then this was interesting, too. You saw what transpired with Luke, where all of a sudden his ankle goes kaput. And you're saying, how the hell is Brunson going to be able to do this? But this is Jalen Brunson. He's getting knocked down, and he gets back up again. And he makes shot after shot after shot when it matters the most. His first half was, frankly, awful. 5 of 15, 3 turnovers, a couple of assists. He had 13 of his 30 points in the fourth quarter. I mean, this was not on eyeball test a great statistical game, a great feel for the vast majority for Jalen Brunson. The first half was subpar. There were questions about his health. But when it mattered the most, this is why he is Derek Jeter. He is a combination of Derek Jeter. He's a combination of Houdini. He's a combination of Mozart, all rolled into one. And really, the best way to phrase it, he's Jalen Brunson. This is who he is. This is what he does. This is how he carries an organization, a city, a team, a franchise on his back. This is why Charles Barkley was on my SiriusXM radio show calling him the greatest free agent signing in the history of the NBA. This is what he does with the game on the line on the road against the Spurs, a phenomenal team. They just knocked off the champs. They've got the face of the NBA, Wemby on their side, and Jalen Brunson doesn't give a damn. Doesn't matter that he got hurt a couple of times. Doesn't matter he was missing shot after shot. This is the beauty of Jalen Brunson. This is why he's number one. He's the guy I want, and anyone who's a hater or a critic, any Twitter tough guy, member of the media elite, Becky Hammond, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's nonsense if you don't believe in Jalen Brunson at this stage. That's a you problem. Karl-Anthony Towns had one of the best games of his career last night, and after the game on Inside the NBA, he gave us some of the best sound I've heard in quite some time.
Yeah. What was the difference in terms of intensity, effort, things that even possibly surprised you about game one and being in your first NBA final?
To be honest with y'all, I don't want to sound sugarcoating or anything like that, but Shaq, you would know what I'm saying. I don't know what it was, but I just felt a calm and a peace that, I don't know, had to come from the woman above. So I felt really confident about today. I felt good. I felt like a kid. It felt like it was just fun out here. This is something that as a kid you always dream about. You always hope that you just hope to be an NBA player, let alone to be in the NBA Finals. And all day it was just a weird feeling. It felt like I was a kid getting ready to go play my Saturday AAU games and Sunday AAU games. And in a way, I felt like I was seeing her in the stands, and it was fun. It was really fun, and it was really comforting because, game one of the NBA Finals, you're told how the pressure is going to be and everything is, and I don't know. It felt like a certain presence was here that was very comforting and very loving, and I felt like I could have fun out here in game one of the NBA Finals, which is the weirdest thing because you would expect to have the pressure at the highest.
If you don't have the chills, check your pulse. I mean, this was absolutely positively incredible. And, you take a look at Karl-Anthony Towns and you listen to that incredible sound and the unbelievable soundbite. And that was such a special and sensational interview that he did on Inside the NBA and the postgame show. And listen, his mom passed away about 5-6 years ago, and to feel her presence on the court, I mean, that was real stuff. And he's talking about that calm. It was awesome. Absolutely awesome. And on a night where Jalen Brunson was Captain Clutch again, the MVP of this game, the best player for the Knicks in this game was Karl-Anthony Towns. Because if Towns doesn't play like he did in that third quarter, we don't even get to Jalen Brunson having a chance to save the game and have those heroics. What Karl-Anthony Towns did, and we put the numbers on the screen, phenomenal. We're showing you the highlights on offense and rebounding and defense, and he absolutely stymied Victor Wembanyama, and he had shot after shot after shot in the third, and they took advantage, the Knicks did, and Cat did, in the non-Wemby minutes when you look at it in the third quarter. After, in the first, the Knicks were awful in the first quarter in the non-Wemby minutes, and that's how you lose a basketball game in the NBA Finals. Cat was awesome. He was tough. He was smart. He was calculated. He was aggressive. The stat page, dramatic. Stat page was incredible. The feel was even better. How about 10 of his 18 in the third quarter? 10 minutes of gold in that third quarter. It just absolutely awesome with 10 points and 4 rebounds and 2 assists. And take a look at what transpired for Wembanyama, 2 of 12, with Karl-Anthony Towns as the primary defender. Absolutely awesome. And this, to me, is why I was screaming all week long here on Schein Time, including yesterday, and I nailed it that Karl-Anthony Towns absolutely positively would be the best player in the game. He would dominate on every single phase. There's something at ease here now about Karl-Anthony Towns. And it doesn't mean at ease like he's hanging on the perimeter or not giving a damn. He's in a great frame of mind in terms of how he's playing confidence level-wise on defense. And, he trusts Mike Brown and, the point center. And, it's an interesting thing. And the guys on Inside the NBA really, really hit this home. Not often do you have a scorer like Karl-Anthony Towns. Not often do you have a guy like that. The point total goes down during the postseason, but the game goes up. The intensity goes up. And you see Cat on rebounds, and you see Cat crashing the boards, and Cat on defense, and Cat is that point center and dishing the basketball. The confidence level is just off the charts when you look at it. It's mesmerizing. It's incredible. And Brunson in the fourth quarter, that was special. Brunson's hitting the rainbow shots. Brunson's hitting threes. The MVP for the Knicks last night, the best player on the court in game number one, was absolutely positively Karl-Anthony Towns. He was phenomenal last night. Difference making. If he's just average or good in that third quarter, we don't even get to the fourth quarter. Cat was next level, out of this world. That was difference making for my Knicks in that third quarter to set up the heroics for Brunson and company in the fourth last night. So, how does Victor Wembanyama feel after a subpar game being bottled up by Cat's defense?
It's obviously, it's not we've been down in a series before, never in the finals, obviously. But I'm not kicking myself about anything, really. I'm not worried the slightest.
Wemby had 6 turnovers last night. He missed 15 shots. I think Victor Wembanyama is the face of the NBA. I think that on any court he's on, you always have to account for him being a freak and an alien. And he's Shaq and Steph Curry and Paul Bunyan rolled into one. Look at the missed shots. This was a bad Wemby offensive game. Look, we can praise him on defense, and it's accurate. Praise him on the glass, it's accurate. But when you start talking about how the Spurs would win this series, it would be Victor Wembanyama being a model of efficiency and domination on offense. That was not the case. I thought Victor Wembanyama looked spooked. I thought Victor Wembanyama looked tired. I thought Victor Wembanyama was sloppy. I thought Victor Wembanyama never got rhythm. We're allowed to talk about this because I talked about it on Monday. Look, the Spurs celebrated Saturday night like they just won a championship. And Wemby's tears and emotion, and I would die for this. I love that as a sports fan. Also, there's a direct hangover when it comes to something like that from Saturday, going into a 48-minute emotional warfare on the sports context going up against Karl-Anthony Towns and the Knicks. So I think that wobbly Wembley is the right way to frame it. He is an absolute superstar. This was the worst game on offense and mental and physical fatigue that he's had in the postseason. I thought this was a terrible Victor Wembanyama performance. Now, I'm not in any way, shape, or form suggesting this is going to be the norm. Anytime Wemby plays, we expect him to score 30, 35 points and hit bombs from the outside, and he's going to be unstoppable down low. But the Knicks' confidence level is off the charts. The Knicks have now beat the San Antonio Spurs 3 times in 3 different ways this year, right? NBA Cup, regular season, and most especially last night, game 1 of the NBA Finals. And I don't think someone like Victor Wembanyama feels pressure for the sake of conversation. He's had all the attention on him forever. I remember when, all eyes were on him and Adrian Wojnarowski was on ESPN and said his upside. This is when, he was still in France, where he would ultimately he could be the most talented player who's ever played in the history of the NBA. So I don't think he feels that kind of pressure. But, he's still in his early 20s. This is a new experience for him. And I'm sure Victor Wembanyama is going to bounce back because he's that special, he's that great, and he's a unicorn as a ball player. But Last night was no good. And post-game, you had Mitch Johnson and Victor Wembanyama admitting as much. Worst game he's played this postseason. They need to get him the ball more. But he looked tired. And he looked worn down by the Knicks, who did an unbelievable job on defense. And listen, that's part of it, right? If you can get the unicorn to be just your run-of-the-mill horse, right? And it's not someone who could fly. And you can, Wembanyama was great on defense and rebounding, but didn't have anything going on offense, whether it was turnovers or not hitting shots. You take that, you grab it, you run with it if you're the Knicks. Can we talk about Josh Hart, please? I mean, you think scoring's everything? Did we just witness the best 3 points, 1 for 5 shooting game ever? 15 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals, a plus 22 effort when you start talking about plus minus. Here's what I have to say.
How would you describe the quality of this win tonight?
It was good. Can't think about it too much. Now we got to go tomorrow, watch film, learn from a win. They're going to come out, obviously, with a lot of energy, sense of urgency, sense of desperation, and we got to do the same thing.
Listen, I honestly think Josh Hart was the literal, figurative heartbeat of this win. And I think Brunson was Captain Clutch, and Cat was the MVP and the best player on the floor. The Knicks don't win this game without Josh Hart. His rebounding was unbelievable. His fourth quarter defense was sensational. And this is why Josh Hart, when the Knicks win a championship, and this was my prediction before the final started, so it's not an overreaction to what transpired last night, Josh Hart is going to be celebrated like nobody else, because he plays with that Anthony Mason, Charles Oakley, 90s Knicks intensity, and it's just the heart of a champion. I mean, anytime you were on a graphic with Larry Bird, this is pretty remarkable. And his impact and the way he was able to get his hands on the basketball and force turnovers in the fourth quarter. And that plus 22 we referenced, that is the single best plus minus ever for a Knicks player in the history of the franchise when it comes to the NBA Finals and a plus minus. Amazing. Josh Hart is absolutely sensational. He deserves so much credit for doing all the dirty work and allowing Jalen, Brunson and company to get that result, and for Brunson to make those plays, and the way that these two guys feed off each other, best of friends, they have the podcast together. I just love watching Josh Hart do his thing, and that defense and that intensity, great for your sports soul when you watch Harts play basketball. Now, Hart was not the only role player crucial to the result of this game. I want you to take a look at our unsung heroes here, because I think they all deserve some love and to be shouted out. I thought the Knicks were awful early. I really do. And the way the Knicks started this game was highly disappointing in so many different ways, right? Jose Alvarado, to me, was a terrific star early. He was a pulse. When he stepped in for an injured Brunson and didn't let that lead at the end of the day balloon to 10, 15, 20 points, I thought Alvarado was an unbelievable unsung hero, and he deserves so much credit for what he did specifically in that second quarter. I thought that was a huge deal when you look at Alvarado. Landry Shamet got run last night. He was off the bench supremely early. He took minutes away in a good way from OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges. Mike Brown coached his ass off last night. I thought Mike Brown was fantastic. Mike Brown, we've heard Steph Bondy talk about this, loves Landry Shamet. Shamet was the last guy to make this team. He loves his effort, his defense, how he fights through screens. Shamet's hitting shots, 3 threes last night, 13 points. Obviously was ridiculously tough and clutch and money shooting the basketball. When you look at what Shamet was able to do in the series against Cleveland, I thought Shamet was awesome. And He earned the playing time. There was not one moment watching the game last night where I had any issue with any substitution pattern from Mike Brown. I thought Mike Brown as a coach pitched a perfect game, but the Shamet inclusion to me was a monster deal. OG Anunoby, I thought, did an excellent job, and his points, his rebounds, his assists, his defense. I thought Bridges, there was nothing ultra positive last night from Mikal, but the key was nothing negative in any way, shape, or form. But here's to you, Mitchell Robinson. And look, Mitchell Robinson has that broken hand, right? And he missed, I would call it a couple dunks, to be honest with you. And, you know, frankly, there are a couple of examples last night where he had a chance to slam it home and get some easy buckets and bunnies and just couldn't catch the ball. But when you're Mitchell Robinson and you have the ability to have 13 minutes and 6 rebounds and play unbelievable defense, that's who Mitchell Robinson is. That's what he does. Broken hands, non-broken hand. That's Mitch, longest tenured Knick, stepping up, making unbelievable plays, hustle, effort, defense, rebounding, energizer bunny. Huge. Absolutely, positively huge. I thought that was a huge deal in the way he was able to do that, and he didn't aggravate the hand in any way, shape, or form. So I thought that was a big deal, and it goes to show during this 12-game winning streak, you know, the depth and the talents, and I'm going to say it again, Mike Brown has done an unbelievable job. X's and O's have been great. Substitution patterns, riding hot hands. He's done a superb job. Not an issue with Mike Brown during this unbelievable, unprecedented run of greatness. You can color me obsessed here when you look at what these unsung heroes brought to the table, because the Knicks needed everyone in order to get that dub in the fashion that they did last night. Was fatigue coming off a grueling Game 7 against OKC to blame for the Spurs faltering down the stretch last night? Not according to Mitch Johnson.
I don't think it was fatigue. I'm sure guys got tired at times, but I didn't feel like anyone's performance was based on fatigue. I think we just need to be sharper and execute better and continue to work the game and not fight it at times and play the right way.
I thought Mitch Johnson coached an atrocious game last night. And if you're a Spurs fan, if you bet the Spurs, you're not going to be happy. First of all, go back to the first quarter. Who's the best player on the floor? Dylan Harper. Dylan Harper, as a Knicks fan, Dylan Harper scares me. Dylan Harper, I know the back of the bubblegum card says he's a rookie. He plays like he's a 10-year vet. He's so talented. He's so savvy. And Dylan Harper was amazing last night. And the fact that Mitch Johnson didn't go to him in the fourth quarter and instead went for De'Aaron Fox, who couldn't hit the broadside of a barn last night, Spurs fans have to be saying to their coach, Mitch, please. This was wild. I mean, sometimes stats lie. Here they don't. And I want you to take a look at the minutes played, because this is unacceptable. And I love De'Aaron Fox, and I'm cool starting De'Aaron Fox. But my goodness, if De'Aaron Fox is going to be a double agent, and if you're the Spurs and a Spurs fan, and you see 3 for 13, and he's just chucking shots and missing shots left and right, I mean, if the Knicks win a title, Fox was so bad last night that he's potentially going to be on that floats with Kenny Atkinson and with James Harden for the Knicks parade. And I love De'Aaron Fox, but if you're Mitch Johnson, you have to get Fox out of the game, especially first half Harper was the best player. I don't fault Mitch for what happened with Champagnie. You know, Champagnie was unbelievable, hitting shot after shot after shot in the first half. Thought the Knicks made an adjustment. I don't think that you second-guess that in any way, shape, or form, but, man, that was weird. That was unacceptable. It was a weird night for San Antonio, even as they frankly led this game more against the Knicks, right? And you know, if you start looking at the overall box score and volume of time with the lead, you know, Castle, who I think is fantastic, he was completely nondescript last night. He did not have an impact in this game in a positive way in any way, shape, or form. Victor Wembanyama was awful last night. That was problematic without question. So I think that when you take a look at it from that standpoint and that perspective, listen, if I'm a Spurs fan, I'm livid. Because not having Harper in this game was just, I mean, It didn't make any sense. As a Knicks fan, I'm thrilled. I'm absolutely thrilled. I mean, it's incredible when you look at it, the fact that Harper didn't play. I mean, I thought this game was going on a really weird turn. And, you know, the way that Harper was playing was a big part of that. So I'm very fired up in terms of the Knicks not having to deal with Harper late. I just could not believe someone as smart as Mitch Johnson wasn't playing Harper in the fourth quarter last night. Made absolutely no sense. So stay with me on this. Is Game 2 a must-win for the Spurs? Is the series over if they go into an 0-2 hole? So I am picking the Knicks to win a championship. This is not a reaction as a Knicks fan, not an overreaction to Game 1. I have said the Knicks were making the finals all season long. I said in the middle of the series against Philly that the Knicks would be able to win a championship. I felt like they could absolutely beat OKC or San Antonio. So this is not an overreaction when I say I have the Knicks winning a championship. I still have the Knicks winning in 7 games. Now, if the Knicks win, and I think they can, and I think they will for Game 2, I don't think the series is over. I'm just telling you, there's no chance on Monday I will tell you the series is over. Because as long as Victor Wembanyama is on the other side, the team that has Wemby always has a shot to win. At 3-0, if the Knicks are ever up 3-0, I won't declare it over. Because Victor Wembanyama is that freakish, that out of this world, that special. So when you take a look at it from a must-win perspective, honestly, I don't think it is. Now, of course, if you're the Spurs, you want to win. You don't want to go down 0-2 with, you know, a game coming up at Madison Square Garden. But I go back to something that Mike Breen said to me a few weeks ago on my Sirius XM radio show. He said, one of the interesting things about, at the end of the day, one of the interesting things about playing at Madison Square Garden, if you're the Knicks have a great home court. Knicks fans are the best. But they always get their best effort from the opposition stars because you feel like the way it's lit and with the, you know, celebrities on, front row, you feel like you're on Broadway. So even if it's down, this is why I don't like saying things like must win, right? If it's 0-2 and the Spurs are in that deficit, can they win Game 3 and series back on? Obviously. So it's interesting. I expect Castle to play better. I expect Wemby to play better, in theory, right? I do think, the Knicks are the better team. The Knicks can play better. That's the beauty of this. Jalen Brunson talked to Lisa Salters about this. After the game, he said, listen, I didn't play my best. The shots weren't falling. Brunson could play better. There's no question about that. Bridges could play better. There's no question about that. The Knicks offense can be better than what it was in quarter 1, quarter 2, and the first half of quarter number 3. So yes, and I love what Kat had to say to Inside the NBA about the mentality, where some teams, some stars would say, okay, at the end of the day, this is something where, we have our one on the road. Maybe, it's already a success, even if we lose. Absolutely not. And Brunson's talked about this, and Mike Brown's talked about this. Karl-Anthony Towns said it's 0-0. That's the mentality for the scoring games. It's 0-0. So I really think that when you take a look at everything that transpired, man, I really am energized, not only by the win, but also what's next here for this basketball team, because the Knicks can play even better. Now, Knicks are 5.5-point dogs coming up on Friday night. And I can't wait once again to bet the Knicks. We hit the parlay on Schein Time yesterday. Got all your tweets. Appreciate you playing along. We told you 18 plus for Karl-Anthony Towns, and he had 18. And we said 35 plus for Jalen Brunson, points, rebounds, assists. He hit 35. And Knicks money line. So plus 480. Lunch on me for the Schein Time crew today. So that's pretty great. Look, I think the Knicks are winning a championship. This is not an overreaction in any way, shape, or form to what transpired yesterday. I've said it consistently, and I'm going to say it again. And the Knicks know they have to bring even more in terms of an effort. Have to bring even more in terms of an effort because Wemby and Castle, they are going to be pissed off after what transpired. Good news is, Knicks know they have a different level. The mentality is unbelievable for this basketball team. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I've said this in the Philly series. I said it in the series against Cleveland. The play on the floor always tells me this team's going to win a championship. It's how they approach it and what they say post-game that makes me really, truly believe it. Because when you have that singular focus and that kind of mentality, special. Absolutely special. So it's incredible to just absolutely feast your eyes on this team, to enjoy every single second of it. And this mentality, this 0-0, not looking at, being up 2-0 against Cleveland and going to Cleveland, or being up 2-0 against Philly, going into Philly. And it's funny, I don't hear anyone talking about, the East was weak. No one's talking about that anymore. I mean, that's a loser's take. Down 14, Knicks crawl all the way back and win. That's a terrific job by my Knicks. Time now for some non-NBA Finals takes. Extra, extra. Hear all about it. Let's start with Shohei Ohtani and Christopher Sanchez, who are absolute freaks. And Shohei Ohtani continues to be the alien of baseball, as evidenced by him lowering his ERA to a minuscule 0.74 last night while reaching base 5 times. But let's make sure simultaneously we give Christopher Sanchez his due as well. I mean, Sanchez finally gave up a run. The Phillies fans went absolutely nuts. He smiled, 50-plus innings without giving up a run. It's kind of crazy, right? Ohtani has a 0.74 ERA, and Sanchez hasn't given up a run. And, Mizorowski's been unbelievable, and Skeens is terrific. The National League Cy Young race is going to be unreal down the stretch of the season. I mean, Ohtani, what he's able to do, 6 scoreless last night, that is just incredible. I mean, I'm searching for words and descriptions. 6 shutout innings, gets on base 5 times. It's not even fair to Babe Ruth to put Babe Ruth in the Shohei Ohtani category anymore. Just always stop and smell the roses here. And look, I think the Philadelphia Phillies and I think the LA Dodgers could eventually be on a collision course for the NLCS, with all apologies to the fans of the Atlanta Braves. And I think that would be great for Major League Baseball. Bad news for the Green Bay Packers. Micah Parsons is going to be out until at least mid-October. It's been roughly 5 months since the ACL reconstruction, and we now know that his meniscus was also surgically repaired during the same time, and he spoke about it at Packers camp.
I would definitely say it is hard for me to accept. Not only is it hard to accept that, I'm going to miss more time than, what I want, but obviously it's hard to accept the injury like that. It constantly replays in my brain, constantly thinking about how can I not do it. Like, you don't even know how much time I spend on ChatGPT about my injury and how to, like I just can't accept, where I'm at. I'm like, man, how do I keep progressing and progressing, and it's just nonstop. So that's a very good question. It is. I haven't accepted it yet, but I work hard as hell every day trying to make sure that I will be better when it comes out of this.
Quick check at my personal ChatGPT when it comes to the schedule for the Green Bay Packers. At Minnesota, loss. At the Jets, loss. Atlanta, it's at home. I like the Falcons this year. Give them a win. At Tampa Bay, loss. The Chicago Bears at home, loss. The revenge game against the Dallas Cowboys, loss. How about the Lions in Detroit? Loss. How about the Carolina Panthers at home? I'm just giving you the games until the end of October. Look, I think Packers are going to be atrocious this year. And when I say atrocious, I mean a last place team. I just don't think Jordan Love is good enough in any way, shape, or form, consistent enough in any way, shape, or form to ultimately be someone who can go out and make up for not having Micah Parsons, who's an unbelievable ball player. This time frame was always the deal when you looked at it for this squad without question, and I think that's part of the equation here. But I just think that this team is done. I really do. I don't think the Green Bay Packers are going anywhere. I think they're finishing in last place when you take a look at the ultra-competitive NFC North. Micah Parsons did not play in the Bears and the Packers wildcard game that saw one of the wildest comebacks in recent memory, but he was in attendance all the way into the end to witness that 25-point fourth quarter Caleb Williams' unbelievable performance. The same cannot be said for Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, who had a shocking and perplexing admission.
Getting in and out of Soldier Field is an absolute nightmare. Let me tell you how bad it is. Bears versus Packers. I'm at the game. We're losing. I decide to leave to beat the traffic. Before I get out of the footprint, the Bears had come back to win. The ingress-egress part, that's what we have to fix.
Yeah, I don't know if Brandon Johnson is trying to sit here and make a case on, why it's okay if the Bears leave Chicago and leave Illinois and go to Indiana. And by the way, I'm always sensitive to those kind of things if, it matters to people who are fans. But, the New York Giants and New York Jets play in New Jersey. I'm unfazed by things like that, right? You're the mayor of Chicago. You can't leave the game. And if you have to leave for some reason, you don't admit it. But let's go back to the first premise. Don't leave the game. You're the mayor of Chicago. That's one of the great sporting events in your city in quite some time. You can't leave the game. I don't know, maybe hearing that, Ben Johnson was already in a cranky mood before this.
All on the same page, we're speaking the same language, and that's always a good starting point. Oh my. Good.
Now that you've got a year under your belt, how does it feel? How do you feel about your position, what you're doing, the people you're working with?
Somebody want to take their phone, so I'm not interrupted again. Thanks.
How does it feel to be a year under your belt, going into your second year with what you've learned?
So, I'm going to defend Ben Johnson here. Couple of things that I believe in. Number one, don't mess with someone's work. Don't mess with someone's time. And I think, and the reporter whose phone, not, part of the younger generation, clearly it was an accident, right? But Ben Johnson should be pissed off. It's a weird thing nowadays where everyone's got their phone on. You know what I do? I might miss a call from my wife or one of my kids because my phone is always off because I'm always working. I'm always on the air. You know what you do when you're in that kind of setting? You make sure your phone is off, especially in 2026 where phones are pseudo microphones and you're videotaping everything and recording everything and it's your phone. Just make sure the phone is on silent. What are we doing here? Where's the respect? Where's the respect for the coach, the respect for the head of public relations, the respect for the other reporters and journalists in the room? Nothing bothers me more than when you don't respect someone's time or ability to work. So I know people on the internet, oh, Ben Johnson, chill out. Don't be cranky. Ben Johnson is talking to the press. That's part of his job responsibility. He doesn't want to be there all day. And if he's going to do it and answer questions, might not want to be distracted by a phone ringing. That bothers me. Absolutely bothers me. So I'm not going to rip the reporter. I really think it was an accident. It's more of a societal thing. Just put your damn ringer on silent. I mean, I don't care if you're doing a job. I don't care if you're going to a kid's recital. Just keep the ringer off. Show a little respect. My goodness. My phone's going to be abuzz tonight as I'm watching Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final in Raleigh. I can't wait for it. I'd be floored, absolutely stunned if the Hurricanes lost. Game 1 of this series was an absolute banger, and I think that you're going to see the Carolina Hurricanes bounce back. Vegas is tough. Vegas is clutch. You know, Eichel and Marner and Torts and company, unbelievable. Seth Jarvis, if you're looking for a little prop tonight, he's going to score. Rod Brindamore was pissed that his stars did not come to play, and rightly so. I could not believe they lost this game after they were up 2-0. I mean, Carolina's been a machine during the course of this postseason, so, boy, I'll tell you right here, right now, I am extra fired up about this hockey game tonight. This feels like it's going to be a 7-game series, and I am taking Carolina to even the series at 1 game apiece. That's the show. If you missed any portion of the show, just do what I do and go to YouTube and watch it over and over and over again. Go to the New York Post Sports YouTube page. Go to the California Post Sports YouTube page. Search Schein Time and just watch the show again and again and again and again. We'll see you tomorrow on Schein Time.